Welcome to Local Leverage, your competitive edge in business. Today's show is brought to you by PropertyRadar, the hyper-local lead generation platform for small local businesses. Today's guest is Jeremy Sergent. He's an independent mortgage broker putting AI to work in real time. We're going to cover how he's using AI day to day, what's impactful, what's fluff, and where it's already saving hours. From lead generation to speed to lead automations to personalized follow-up and call analysis, Jeremy is going to share what actually landing with his clients. We're also going to dig into the deeper picture. Is AI just optimization, or is this industry changing? How can independents compete with retail? And what should loan officers do now to future-proof their careers? If you want a practical look at how brokers can win with AI while keeping the human touch, this episode's for you. Well, Jeremy, welcome to Local Leverage.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Yeah, no, this is fantastic. Always excited to talk to somebody who's been doing the reps and spending time with AI. I'm really curious to learn more about your AI journey and how you're leveraging it.
A lot of different applications with AI.
For sure.
I kind of got started in this as a necessity. I'm not exactly one of the youngest fellas out there. So, I'm 51. And I wasn't exactly I've been in the tech industry for a long time. I've been in branding, domains, those sorts of things. And so it was a natural fit for me to bring over some of my technical skills into what we do in terms of, presence and branding and so on. So that's actually worked out really, really well, bringing those skill sets over. But with AI, it came about from actually watching other people and what they were doing to monetize different AI tools. I'm like, well, that seems interesting, right? Because as loan officers, we do everything we can to chase the next deal, and the next deal, the next deal. And I started looking at what I could utilize with AI to create more of a passive income model and to automate the different systems that we have available. So I came at it from that particular angle of the automation side, because let's face it, right? We'd all be a lot happier if we're doing our job from the beach.
100%. Yeah. So, let's just start at the top. How are you using AI today in your kind of day-to-day workflow as a loan officer?
So there's a couple of different methods that I'm using. Well, I can't say a couple. There's a pile of things that I'm doing that tie into AI every day. And one of the main things I work with, I create, well, I can't say I create, but I do create custom workflows inside of Go High Level. Yep. And so I'm utilizing the Go High Level CRM. I promote the tool, but I use it realistically from the mortgage standpoint is what got me into using that particular tool. And it was just creating the automations, but also creating the scripting for the responses and so on, utilizing AI. But I had to work really hard to create more of an authentic brand voice. You know what I mean? Because, we have great tools with companies like UWM, and I think SunWest is doing their Angel AI, and,
Sure.
People are making that approach. But what you're getting out of their systems, and their devs can argue with me if they want to, but they're going to lose. It's all the same regurgitated nonsense. So you have thousands of LOs pumping out AI content that all looks the same. And what I was working on is trying to figure out a way to have more authentic content that was more in tune with how I talk. Not everybody talks the same, but I wanted to remove that BS factor from the content that people are putting out there, and figuring out a way to put in my ethos and my approach so that when I talk to a client, I'm not this shiny thing from a box. I'm a real human, and I care about what I do, and I want that to come across in my messaging. So AI has been really helpful with that.
I think that's been a big, takeaway for me too. In the earlier days, just as we were dabbling in AI and testing things, you start out with very basic prompts, and you get what you get in terms of the response or the answer.
Correct.
And it's going to have that feel that you're talking about, that inauthentic feel. And I think from my own journey with it has been about, how do I set up reference materials and preferences or framing in my AI so that I'm training it more on my voice or on my work style or whatever that might be, to generate better outputs. And I think so many people are not putting that together, right? They're just putting in a very general prompt, and then they're disappointed with the output and maybe make the conclusion that, oh, this is just a lot of hype.
Right.
Is that the same way that you're approaching that?
Yeah, I did find, of course, everybody when they first get involved using like ChatGPT or Claude or Grok or any of the tools that are out there, right? They're like, oh, I can make an action figure of myself. I can do some silly stuff. I can
Right.
create a Sasquatch video eventually. Different things. People come at it from what I call shiny object syndrome, right? And they don't learn how to, as I call it, train your dragon. And that's what it really happens. That's probably a trademark phrase. But anyway, I utilize my approach of it is a dragon. It is a beast. There's a lot a lot of power in what it can do. And if you learn how to train it right, then your outputs are obviously exponentially better. For example, I always create a master prompt. And this is one of the things that I teach people.
Yes.
I'm going to be doing a class in late September about AI in business and the practical application for small business owners, not just mortgage guys or real estate agents. It's actually for everybody. So what I have it do is I go into agent mode and I can extract all kinds of data and have it do different things. But I initially create a nice lengthy prompt about, I want you to think as the top 1% money earner in any particular field. And I said, when it comes to everything I ask you, I want you to reference people like Ryan Serhant, Grant Cardone, and any other top 1% money earners in real estate. And approach that advice. And I say also, I want you to double check your assumptions and always provide proper reference material to what I'm asking you.
Yeah.
And also, this is a huge thing. What people forget to do is you have to add into your prompt, please check for any blind spots that I may have left out. Because when you do that, you're going to be amazed at the actual output that it gives you. And it'll say, you failed to consider this. And if you ask it to take the position of a contrarian with all positions that you present, it will come back with a more accurate mindset and a more accurate approach, and it will help you with real actionable steps of day to day. Here's what you need to do to not only create more successful habits, but also with your social media strategy. And even in automations, I could even pop into Claude and have it create a N8N automation for me.
Sure.
That will automate any sort of things that I want it to do. So how to train your dragon is the best way I can put that.
I think that's a great point, and I use the same nomenclature around kind of master prompt, and for me it's maybe less about my tone of voice because I'm not using it for the creation of content as much, but I am using it for strategy work and problem solving, things like that. And so a couple of things that I found for myself to be helpful is giving it a framework for problem solving as an example. Like, how do I want it to approach that? How do I want it to ask me questions for clarification? And then I also have started implementing secondary agents to check the work of the first agent,
Yeah.
right? So if I have one develop a strategy, kind of to your point about, poke holes in it, well, the other agent is kind of there to poke holes in it. And I found that that's a productive thing as well.
Exactly. When you start approaching the LLM from what we call an agentic process, right? It's when you're having different nodes who are double checking the assumptions and the outputs, you're coming out with much better results. And I think a lot of people do fail to utilize those techniques. And of course, they're not going to get the same quality outputs. Like you want it tends to have this sycophantic sort of fascination with, I want to agree with you. Like we were talking about the improv situation of, you're like, I want to set myself on fire. It's like, that's a great idea. Let me show you how to do that. Have you considered other propellants? You're like, what are you doing? No, here's what I want to accomplish. And, one of the other things that I think that is really overlooked is if I'm not having a really great, a really great flow, and let's say I'm having a hard time coming up with the right prompt or the right things, I actually ask it to help me hone in the prompt that I'm looking for. If I were to ask this, what type of language would you require in that prompt to finish or complete this process? And it will then tell you. And I go, okay, great. Now, there's always my keyword phrase, now, integrate that with the ideas I've presented, blah, 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 blah. And then it works further in the refining process.
I love that. Using it to help you kind of go backwards in a prompt. I think there's a lot of folks too I hear say like, I don't know where to start. I don't know how to learn this. Well, ask it. It'll tell you. Like it'll help you learn it. Like to your point, like it'll help you learn how to create better prompts. You just have to ask it.
If only relationships and marriage were that simple. Tell me how you want me to speak to you.
Right.
What language would you respond to? And that's where the human dynamic is obviously quite a bit different. So
Yeah.
no
Well, so
one-
let's bust through some of the hype on this a little bit. I mean, so in your day to day, like what's working best for you with AI? Where are you getting the most value? There's a million ways you can apply it, and some of the benefits are somewhat superficial, but like where are you getting, the real sauce out of it?
So if you can break down your overall game plan, if you just take a real information session with yourself and you speak to whatever LLM is your preferred, piece, Grok, Claude, whatever it is you want to use, but you take the time to develop whatever that specific business plan is for your mortgage business or real estate, or I don't know, if you just want to be the hot dog eating champion, I don't know, whatever it is that you want to accomplish, if you help create that specific framework, then I've done that a multitude of times for different action areas, and then I've asked it to map that out. And also, I know it sounds silly, but I've actually used it to create a time blocking calendar.
Yeah.
So that it's something that's so rudimentary, but you can do that. And now with the agentic browsers that are being released, you don't need external automations for these things. It can literally comb through your emails that you want and bring you high priority elements. And it can also help you draft email responses. And there's a lot of elements that you can put into play that, yes, these things take a little bit to set up. But if you do it, then it makes your life a whole lot easier moving on. Now, there's always the concern of, well, you didn't send me the email from my uncle, why did you? Well, he wasn't high priority today. Well, what are you talking about? So it takes a little bit of teaching it, but once you do, I pop in and I check, and it can give me a time blocking push and alerts. So that is something that I use for game planning out, whether it's my social media strategy or whether it's making sure that I'm working with my LOs and getting my one-on-one time, or, whatever it is, I'm utilizing those tools to help me keep myself organized, but also focused on the next thing in line instead of being in a reactionary posture all day long.
Yeah. Yeah. That's great. When you're thinking about the mortgage industry in particular, how do you think that AI is going to fundamentally change how it operates? And I guess I'm curious, from your perspective, is this an optimization play or is this a disruption?
You want to open this can of worms?
Yeah, let's do it.
Oh man, this is going to be controversial. People are going to hate this, and and I hope I'm wrong. Okay, I really, guys, I say this with all real sincerity. I hope I am wrong, and I hope you prove me wrong. But I think that humans have about an 8-year runway left in this business. I really do think that. And there will be, considering the growth of AI doubles in its capacity, speed, understanding, cognitive ability every 7 months.
Yep.
With that Occam's razor theory that it's going to continue to shorten that time and shorten that time and shorten that. And the time in 8 years from now, guys, I know it seems a long ways away, but it's not. It's going to be doing calculations and automations and doing the things, okay, at literally a quarter of the speed that it's taking itself now. So I know that larger companies, and it's like, if you watch Star Trek as a kid, like half the gadgets you saw and the things have actually become reality. So you almost don't want to speak things into existence because some things will come to pass. But there are large organizations that are everyday household names that have already dabbled in lending, that have a greater understanding for granular data about individuals. And I'm talking about things you literally use every day to check up on grandma and to order your paper towels and to do your, like, you understand, like the major brands we're talking about. When guys like Bezos have already put hundreds of millions of dollars into testing the mortgage industry and testing and things in real estate, do you think it's going to be very long before someone the size of like Amazon could just snap their fingers and snap up Zillow or somebody else. Like, it's not, I don't want to be under any illusion that, and we're pushing more and more, and I don't mean to be dystopian in my position on this, but we're pushing more away from human connection. Now, we can fight that all that we want, and I'm not saying that it's going to be, an Android world, but what I'm saying is that we are more rapidly accepting of technology. I program AI agents for businesses all the time to answer the phone 24/7, okay? People's adoption of these sorts of things, it's becoming more commonplace. So will it take long before you are led by a self-driving car on a home tour of homes that they know you're qualified for, and all you have to do is make the decision of which one that you want, and it schedules your move and does everything else? I hope you think I need a tinfoil hat on this, because I got to tell you, it's coming, where everything from biometric, what do you think biometric data is leaning towards? They're talking about massive AI innovations in the medical field right now and sharing medical data between different platforms so that we don't have miscalculations in treatments. That same biometric data platform will be applied to fintech within a couple of years. So everything you will carry in between blockchain and this device right here, everything is stored there, including your behaviors, your buying habits, your financial status. Everything is going to be tied in to that simple device. So do you think it's really a far-fetched idea? And we have self-driving car technology, right? It's already becoming, like Waymo is becoming more acceptable by people. It just takes a while for the consumers to accept these things. So when they go, hey, we will now schedule your home tour for 9 a.m. Saturday morning, and you and the spouse and the dog get in and you cruise around, and it knows it's only showing you houses that you're qualified for. And it goes, which one would you like? And you go, well, I like the one on Elm Street. Fantastic. You're approved. We've gone ahead. Your loan documents will be available for retinal scan and signing, and it'll drop the key, which will no longer be a key. And then you're good to go, right? It's going to do all of the things. Like I said, I hope I'm wrong, okay? But if you're not doing, here's my statement on preparedness. If you're not doing what it takes to think beyond now, you need to get started. I always say my hustle is like the third monkey trying to get out on the ark, and brother, it's drizzling, okay?
Yeah.
So
I don't think your
processes now.
I don't think you're wrong on this. I think there's a couple things that maybe feel a little askew there. I don't think it's going to take 8 years. I think that this is going to happen a heck of a lot faster. But I also think that we're in this time of reckoning with AI. We're trying to, figure out, where to apply it and where to leverage our human element. And I mean, processing alone, the qualification, all of the things you mentioned there. 100%. Why do you need a person to do that ultimately?
No, you look at SunWest, right? SunWest is giving their online approvals that even if an underwriter disagrees, they're honoring the approval given by their system. And how long till it will take? Now, believe me, right. I learned the mortgage business back in 2001 from a woman who is the most surly truck driver type of an underwriter. You know her, the ones that were always smoking in the back room. Give me a donut, the ones that were just so mean and surly. But I happened to cuddle up the one who hated me, but I promised I was going to be there every morning bringing her coffee and donuts or whatever, so she would teach me underwriting for FHA. Well, as much as those people, I love them. I really do. The surlier, the better. I love them. They're not going to exist in the world that's being created with AI when it comes to underwriting. It's going to be from the speed of process, man. There's not this thrash back and forth. Either the numbers make sense or they don't. It reviews. How easy is it these days to just upload? Look at what UWM has been doing. Look at how now their system now is doing outbound calls for your leads, for your loan anniversaries, or your people who have had enough of a shift in interest rate. It's already doing outbound marketing, guys. If you're not jumping on programs like Mia or Angel AI or these other things, look, me and the rest of the dinosaurs, we're trying not to fall in the tar pit, okay? It's coming. Be good at what you do, and keep those relationships going. We want to be as relevant as possible for as long as possible. And the best way for
Yeah.
you to do that is still provide your human element while automating the simple nonsense processes that can be done better while you maintain the relationship with your client. That's where the power still is.
I agree with that, and I think that's maybe my point of optimism on this, which is that human connection, the relationship portion of that, or the hyper local knowledge, is still going to be beneficial. And then it's that individual, that loan officer, that's able to harness the power of all the rest to deal with all of this, the routine and statutory pieces. That's easy. Let the systems do that. So I'm so hopeful that there's still a human element going forward, but I think it's going to look much differently, to your point. So
there is. Yeah. So I bought a domain name about a couple of years ago that I'm going to be incorporating into some marketing campaigns. It's called loansbyhumans.com. So really, it's still talking about the human element, why relationships matter. When your phone rings, answer it. There might be an actual human on the other side you have a chance to connect with. I know it sounds crazy, but do the things that matter. Be effective in the pocket so that you're not spending time on other menial things. You need to be connecting with your people, with your database, with your audience, and bringing, I hate to say bringing value. It's so overly used since Gary Vee going forward, but you really have to, the value is in the relationships and the education piece, because there's still a great deal of people out there who don't even understand the basic functions of how a mortgage is put together. And they just go, okay, I'm just going to sign that. Sounds good. No, we want to educate people and have them feel good about it.
I'm going to shift a little bit for us. I mean, I want to stay, talking AI and data, but a lot of our audience realizes at the end of the day, they're in the lead generation business. Mm-hmm. And I'm curious how you're using AI and data to improve lead generation. You can talk about it, maybe like how do you identify, or even how you're speeding up response times and follow up. I'm just curious how you approach that.
Absolutely. So this is a big one. I'm actually, I don't know, for a guy who graduated with a consumer math credit in high school, it's really weird that I'm actually a finance guy and that I'm really into the numbers. The data doesn't lie. And when I look at the partnerships with like PropertyRadar, number one, man, the granularity of the data that you can pull for your specific target audience and the methods that they utilize to target those specific people, so it seems organic in its approach with them recognizing your branding. But the fact that, my latest campaign that we're launching now for VA Earls, that I can find out their interest rate, not just where they're at, not just where these loans are, but man, you get into, your interest rate thresholds, the ages of the borrowers, if they have real contact information or not. You're looking at their equity positions. Yeah. If these people may be potential downsizers, when their last transaction happened, the title company it was with, if it was a new build. It goes on, and I'm just scratching the surface of the amount of data that you actually have available. So coming from doing lead generation campaigns and meta ads and Google ads and all of these things, trying to be omni-channel in my approach, being able to now focus my advertising dollars specifically on the people that I want to talk to, almost to the point of where it's almost spooky, that so much about them. And I noticed one thing really, really interesting. It's when I clicked into an actual, I'll call them a borrower profile, but a property owner's profile, it actually has a couple little bubbles that if you guys are looking at the tool, I want you to pay attention to, because it was shocking to me. It was LinkedIn and Facebook. Two little bubbles you could click on to kind of compare that, see if that's the right person. Are you kidding me? What other tool does this? MMI is really great at tracking data, giving you alerts and those sorts of things. Yeah. Bonzo's a great tool when it comes to those marketing campaigns and taking the scraped data, clean it through the DNC filters. Guys, don't get yourself in trouble. But when you throw it into something like that that's automated, you are talking specifically to the people who are your audience. It's not just a spray and pray method. So technologically, having that data, that AI-driven data that's updated constantly through a tool like PropertyRadar, There's nothing else. There's nothing else like it. There are competitors, but they're in the shadow, man.
I think you're touching on two things I want to tease out of that are important. I mean, one is, you are getting into a lot of very deep information, and so that targeting can come off wrong if you approach it incorrectly, right? If you make the person feel targeted, then you're likely going to set off on the wrong foot. I think if you use that information to identify, to your point, the position they're in, their situation, you can then approach them in a more targeted and empathetic way, which is super powerful.
Exactly.
The other thing is that, in day of old, and it's not, last week, if you're buying leads and you're relying on people that are already raising their hand, you're 3 weeks late to the game, right? Sure. Like, you need to be identifying these people before they're even aware that they have a need. And you can do that through AI, do that through data, and start to establish a relationship based upon value and trust. And again, not to overstate, bring value, but if you do that, I think you're just in such a better spot than being in this reactive mode.
Exactly. And then you're racing with everybody else, right? And then you're technically, and a lot of people hate this, I hate trigger leads. Okay. I really do. Yeah. I have this inner distaste for it. And I even know a lot of people in our company do use trigger leads. Like, do you convert deals? Sure. Okay,
of course you do.
But what did you have to do to get that deal? I feel like you got to sell a piece of your soul to get there. And you're like, look, I am the lowest of the bottom feeders. Go with me, because I'll sell myself so cheap no one else can afford to take a hit like I will. No, I'm not a volume guy. I'm a value guy. Both start with a V, but they're totally different, right? And so that preemptive, it's almost like, what was that Tom Cruise movie? But it's like the pre-crime bureau, right? So you're anticipating, Minority Report. Yeah. And so it's like you're anticipating something that may happen. Well, guess what? Data shows it's going to happen.
Yeah.
It's going to happen. Not they're going to commit a crime, but it's showing that at some point, someone who is 65 years plus, sitting on over $100,000 in equity and a 3,000 or 3,500 plus square foot, they're empty nesters. At some point in the next 5 years, or at least 7, they're going to downsize at some point. And you go, 5 to 7 years. No, you could start planting the seed. Hey, you're in a great equity position. Not so creepy, but, but sort of, hey, if you were to consider doing this, I would love to be your person. And I looked at that with potential downsizers to give that additional lead generation to real estate agents who will be outmoded as well in 8 years or less. But to give those sorts of things to real estate agents to go, hey, let's do some co-branded marketing campaigns. Let's reach out to these people, or even expired listings, those sorts of things where you're giving them the opportunity. I don't believe in chasing real estate agents for deals. I just don't. What I do believe in is giving them a better process, giving them things of value so that you become a part of their ecosystem. And when the deal comes, of course, it's going to go to you because it's a foregone conclusion. Now, if they just take you for granted, then cut off the gravy train and they're out. But if you create a nice reciprocal relationship with always giving, you stand a greater chance of getting something in return, right?
Yeah, 100%. I think the days of buying coffee and donuts and doing these superficial things or desk calendars, that's not the value, right? You've got to bring value. And I think you have the opportunity to bring a ton of value in that joint approach, or helping them to identify opportunities through data and through technology. So yeah, I think it's just a reframing, but I completely agree with that.
Yeah. And that's it. And you also want to work with people who are working. Do you want to buy coffee for a real estate agent that can't afford their own coffee? Like, what are they doing? You know? But it helps you find people who are actually working, people who are actually putting in the effort and teaming up with people who are intentional about what it is that they're doing.
Yep. So what are you doing in the way of kind of experimenting with AI for the sake of content delivery, like personalized video and voice? And is there something that you're doing, and is there something that's actually landing and resonating with clients?
Absolutely. So there's one thing that I've been working on. I just actually released a YouTube video, went live at 6 a.m. this morning. and about a tool that I absolutely love. And I don't mean to like promote other people's stuff while we're here, but I, in my agency, we use a tool called PressMaster. PressMaster AI. I don't know if you've heard of PressMaster.
I haven't. No.
Okay, so this is something I'll send you the link after this, but I want you to go check this out, because we talked about a level of authenticity and about branding. What if you had a tool that could tell you what the highest trending articles and topics are right now in the financial, real estate, mortgage, in the financial world, from the Federal Reserve down to mortgage rates in Poughkeepsie? On top of that, if it were to then learn about you and create its agentic brain around your own brand voice, and eventually be able to then automate the content because it understands you and understands your cadence of content creation. So let's say you and I are talking and you go, man, I saw something about home renovation loans. People were really interested in talking about this. And I go, okay, I pop in, I go, pin, home renovation loans, put it back down. Later on, I can come back to it on my desktop or whatever and say, let's create that article based on these pins.
That's cool.
And it starts formulating that content real time. And it has an analytical element to check the hook to make sure that it gives you a list of different hooks on what's most impactful. So you can choose a different topic, but it's not going to resonate as high, but it gives you a score. And then it gives you the opportunity to have an interview along the way of why you think the way that you do.
Let's switch gears just a little bit. I want to talk about, for independent mortgage brokers in particular, like competing with retail. Like retail typically has, the big platforms. They've got, speed and automation. What do you see as the opportunity for independents to position themselves to win against retail, and potentially, utilizing technology and AI to do it?
Yeah. So here's one of the great things, guys. Big organizations, big what I call your institutional lenders, and I also call them that because if you work with them, you should be in an institution. But your typical retail banks, they don't have the ability to pivot quickly. They don't have the ability to shift. And guess what? Their compliance policies, all of their stuff are so rooted in this old school paradigm because they just don't care. Why? Because they're order takers. And the people who are in charge of the infrastructure are not forward thinking. You can literally look at Wells Fargo's mortgage department in direct opposition to SunWest Mortgage on the wholesale side. And what do you see? You see somebody like SunWest who's nimble, light, they're fast. UWM, they're a massive organization. But Matt was talking about this a year ago when I talked to him at one of our Success Track events about, the fact that, and I've been saying this for almost 2 years now, is that AI won't put you out of business, but your competitors who know how to use it will.
That's right.
And so when you have this old school, deeply rooted paradigm of this is just the way we do things, we're not, in stuffy suits anymore, guys. It's light, it's fast. So independent people, I've always been a wholesale guy. I've never worked retail. I've had to scratch, fight, claw, throw things, to get every deal that I've had throughout my almost 24 years in this industry now. And the ability to shift on a dime, to look at data, to make the proper changes, to go for things in a different way, while all, of course, maintaining your compliance stuff. Sorry, Jim, if you're watching. We want to keep in line, right? But you can make those shifts immediately instead of waiting for 5 different compliance officers to get back to you to decide if your email's crafted properly.
I think you're touching on something that I talk about a lot. I mean, being nimble and being faster as an independent or local is definitely an advantage. I think you can do things in your outreach, lead generation in particular, that a large company cannot do because it doesn't scale, right? Your hyper-local approach and your connection with people, that can't be done, in a mass scale thing. I do caution that I think that there are big retailers that are making big technological plays. I mean, Rocket is great. Yeah, they are. And I think that that's going to become a bigger challenge for independents, but I still think that, positioning yourself as a local specialist and being able to do the things that don't scale are the unlock to success.
Keep in mind, yes, there are bigger players that are adopting these technologies, right? but they're looking at it through their lens. They're looking at it through a larger lens of they're reluctantly being dragged forward into the technology because they know that they have to compete on some level. They're not necessarily looking for the real opportunity in the analytics. They're just doing it because they've been told they have to. They have to do it to survive. And any tool, you can gauge the value of a tool by the implementation. Actually use it. Well, we've got this, we've got that. But are you using it? You know, do you understand the capabilities? Are you pushing the limits of what it can do? What are you discovering? So, yes, you're right. They're adopting some of these things, but to what level of quality, what level of effectiveness? And guess what? If you want to, there's a free version of everything. There are free versions. So the regular dude who doesn't have two nickels to rub together can still create quality content. They can still use analytics. They can still, you can get into N8N and learn some automations and other things that don't cost a whole lot of money. The $20 that I spend for the full version of ChatGPT is worth every dollar.
Yep. I think you're spot on. I mean, this has actually been a very empowering, transition, right? The AI is bringing so much power and capability, and it's not about having a lot of money to apply to it. It's about having the breadth of thought to where do I apply it and how do I leverage it. But it really has leveled the playing field in a lot of regards. And I mean, evidenced by you got, small groups of 3 18-year-old kids, going through Y Combinator programs that are disrupting massive organizations. And so it's,
Joseph Reth. You're familiar with Joseph Reth? Yep. 22 years old. Okay. He designed an LLM that double checks its assumptions and comes out with a higher level of accuracy than any other LLM out there. And guess what? With a fraction of the computing power, it's a reason why Oracle just jumped in and dropped billions of dollars to back this kid. Right. And he's not just somebody out of nowhere. The kid at 14 and 15, 16 years old was working for like Paramount and Warner Brothers and all these. This kid is a genius. And at 22 years old, guys, I was chasing stupid at 22. Okay. This guy is revolutionizing the way that AI works at 22. So don't sleep on these kids. Don't discredit them just because they're young. And you have to have the ability to do these things with a level of efficacy. Sorry if I can get that out.
Yep.
Without a lot of cost. One of my old mentors used to say, it's amazing what you can accomplish when you don't have a choice. And if you don't have billions of dollars, if you don't have massive backing, do what you can with what you have and learn to be more innovative. Anybody can go out and craft the right stuff if you're willing to put in the work. But there's a great deal of people who are just plain lazy. Okay. I want to be lazy. I'm working my tail off. Save the language. I'm working my tail off so that I can be lazy later. How about that? So, don't feel like there is this paywall between you and your level of success. There really isn't. Yeah. And if you need to scrape together a few bucks to invest in one key thing, understand why that key thing is going to be a game changer for you. And then apply it as soon as you can.
So, Jeremy, as we kind of wrap this up, I mean, let's get down to kind of, your best honest advice for the LOs listening. How can they future-proof their career as all of these AI advances occur and that the speed of AI just continues to increase?
So I'm going to tell you this. Get away from shiny object syndrome. Okay? Understand that the creep and the growth of AI in their racing and leapfrogging each other all of the time, it makes it better for us. It really does. Have a firm understanding in what it is you want to accomplish in the broad strokes and also down to the granular approach and what you want to do. Utilize these tools, stay focused in what you're doing, and save making Sasquatch videos for your off time, okay? Do the things that matter now, be impactful where you can, and don't forget your human connection. But I'm going to tell you this, if you're disappointed by an interaction with a real estate agent, or with someone who you think is a referral partner, I want you to rehearse this one word. Are you ready?
Bring it.
Next. next, next. Just keep working. And don't let small things get in the way. Don't let the analysis paralysis creep in. Get focused, talk with your LLM, train it, let it tell you what it wants its name to be, whatever it's going to be. Get dialed in to you so you better understand your processes. Be willing to fail fast, and just go forward. Stop just, oh, that didn't work out. Oh, this borrower's upset. Or, oh, this didn't, my marketing dollars didn't result in anything. Okay. One of the hardest words you're ever going to learn how to say in your life is, okay. That sucked. Okay.
Yeah.
You had a great win. Okay. Keep going.
Absolutely.
So don't get mired down in trying to figure it all out. Understand what matters for you, and then start learning. You all have the most finite resource is time. Learn how these things can leverage your time. Unless, I don't know about you, man, have you found a 25th or 26th hour in the day?
Not yet.
Right? You haven't. And so, I don't know where it's printed, bottom of your foot. We all have an expiration date. Just hustle. Take the wins, take the losses, the same. You got to keep moving and stay hyper-focused. Don't, this other nonsense is great and all, but use it for your downtime. Watch the reels, watch the, the TikTok videos, whatever. Learn something and then immediately apply it. And then go teach it right away to your mortgage team, to your processors, to some dude in line at the grocery store. Get excited about your success, but stay excited about your process, because it'll just keep getting better.
It's awesome. Thank you, Jeremy, for sharing your experiences and insights on this. I think the big takeaway is just start, folks. Get into it and start. And there's a lot of opportunity in front of you if you just embrace it. So, hey, if you found value in this episode, make sure you hit subscribe and share this with a friend or colleague that can also get value from this conversation. Jeremy, again, it's been great to have you on Local Leverage, and I appreciate all the knowledge bombs you dropped.
Hey, I appreciate you, man. Thanks for your time today. And I'm also available if anybody wants to reach out to me on LinkedIn and, set up a one-on-one session. I'm more than happy to help other people win. So
fantastic.
I'm here, guys. Look forward to seeing you.
Awesome. Thanks, Jeremy.